Get ready to feel
The power.
that's Colin Crandall, myself, Adam Roorda, here with MMA Power Hour, another episode, and we're doing it all independent here with the help of Third Wheel Podcast Studio here in Los Angeles. You guys are always amazing for keeping up with us, keeping up with the times, and keeping up with MMA via MMA Power Hour. You guys are the best. Make sure to check out lifttoken.io when you get a chance. That's LITH. It's right here, LITH token.io. It is a cryptocurrency all behind sustainability and ethics in business. I'm actually the blockchain architect, but this show is all about MMA, and Colin is the man of the hour, so I'm going to hand it on over to Colin here.
Thank you very much, Adam. I appreciate you. And that Lith token is great. If you're tired of always having to say IO and talk about people that I owe, then Lith token might be the instrument
Every week,
for you
yeah,
to get
and
into.
you know what? That's one thing about this show, everybody, is the dad jokes that come from Colin. Sometimes me, I like to get it a little dirtier. And actually, now that we're going all independent, we're going to be dropping F-bombs, so I'm going to throw out the explicitive disclaimer here because we don't give a shit. We're just going to have some fun, and we're going to make sure it's always fun for you guys out there. And on that note, we are actually bringing a full-fledged platform to you guys for all things streaming and podcast related here soon. Hopefully we can keep Third Wheel Podcast Studios here in Los Angeles involved. Anybody else has a studio out there across the country, hit us up. My email address is just adam@lifttoken.io. And then Colin's is a Gmail address, but
Yep.
MMA Power Hour at gmail.com is another good one.
That's absolutely great. And hit us up. Absolutely. We appreciate our guys here. We don't have our man Mike today, but we got our man Harrison and our man here.
I was actually going to throw that one out myself.
I beat you to it. We always appreciate both of those guys, and they're great. And you don't normally want to be a third wheel, but when you're at Third Wheel Studios, it is the best place possible to enjoy being the third wheel.
Absolutely. So we've got 3 guests tonight.
We do.
Hopefully all 3 of them show up. I bet you they will.
I think so. I think we got a good feeling.
Crossing my fingers.
That's what you got to do. It. Cross your fingers. You guys, fingers, toes, everything's. I think we will have a great show with all 3 of our guests showing up, and
100%.
One is going to be a first-time guest, and 2 of them are going to be return guests.
Absolutely. Well, and one thing about the MMA media, guys, just so you are aware, one of the biggest issues is actually getting MMA athletes to come on air when they say they will. And it's nothing against them. It's just they have such stringent training schedules. Their coaches keep them a little longer than they expected, or a weight cut is going longer, or just traveling, they get into a fender bender and they have to really check out the injuries and stuff a lot more than you or I normally would. So there's a lot of aspects, including that and USADA randomly stopping by the house.
Right,
like
the
that.
Testing, or even testing before a fight. And not only that, but a lot of times the fighters, with the weight cut, people that are coming on the week of the fight, a lot of fighters don't do shows the week of the fight, but we're fortunate enough to have fighters that will agree to do our show during the week that they're fighting, which is less than a week away. And sometimes they're just so tired after the weight cutting or whatever that they sometimes will actually fall asleep and always apologize tremendously. But, so stuff happens. So to be able to make sure to coordinate it, it just takes a lot of effort and also a lot of good faith on the part of our guests. And, I think we have a good record compared to a lot of shows. I think a lot of shows, half the time, their guests don't show up. I think we have about an 80% record of our guests showing up. So we'd love it to be 90 or 100, but I think at 80, we're one of the better, more reliable shows.
Absolutely. And on guests, we actually had somebody asking us if we would interview The Undertaker. You know what? Get us The Undertaker. We'll interview him.
Yeah, right. If you have contacts with him, I can reach out and talk to Hannibal at the Hannibal TV, which is one of our key distributors right now, and see. But if you have any ins with The Undertaker, certainly let us know. But yeah, we'll reach out. He's a unique dude. I think his name is Mark something. And I think he does have somewhat of a martial arts background as well, so that could be pretty cool. Always love to talk to the dead man.
And then we have Mikey Boatwright commenting on Facebook, asking if we remember about him asking if Amanda Nunez would retire undefeated. I do remember that, actually. And then she lost. Right. I actually was on that note thinking that was going to happen the same way. Colin, I think, agreed with me on that one. It's hard to maintain an undefeated record here. Now, Khabib retired undefeated, but did he really?
Right, but then we have to kind of modify that statement a little bit. Undefeated since she was champion. But
Right.
she did have a couple losses early in her career,
Right, right,
very,
right.
very early. So she wasn't with the undefeated record with
Well, an
Habib. But
undefeated champion, right?
yeah, people thought maybe she would keep on defending and then retire with the belts and have made only successful defenses without having lost the title, and that's obviously been been answered now that she did lose to Juliana Pena in a
And that
huge
was
upset.
actually a discussion we were having, and I think I decided to go with. I did decide to go with Nunez, and you were sitting here saying, "No, I think Pena's the one to do it."
You know, if so, I mean, the end of the year was so crazy for me. So I'll take. I guess I could
No,
take
I
some.
remember it because
I guess.
I was like,
I mean, it's possible. I think I was saying it is possible. Can I do this? Yes, I can. It was a long shot, but Pena is tough, and she was scrappy, and I think I definitely gave her that. And but
you
yeah,
called almost exactly how it would happen as one of the options. You didn't. I don't think you called it for a bet, and I think
no,
you
right.
every week for those of you out there that are just tuning in now. Make sure to hit up Colin's Facebook page, his personal one, and at least follow it. Follow him because every week, not every week, but most weeks,
Whenever there's fights
fight
on Saturdays.
fight night or the day before, he likes to give predictions, and those are usually the most accurate ones.
Thank you.
So those of you with the betting lines that are really interested and really into it, Colin takes his time to study what's going on, and he really has some of the most updated information for everybody. So stay tuned on his personal page there. That's a good way to stay updated with the betting lines.
Thank you. Appreciate that, Adam. I always do my best, and I usually only pick anywhere from maybe like 3 to 6 fights on a card, and we all know a card has anywhere from like 11 to 13 fights. So I'm usually picking less than half the fights because I'm really picking the ones that I'm really confident in and making those my best bets. And a couple other ones I might say are some fringe bets. Like I wasn't making Pena a best bet for sure. I know that, but
No, you weren't. You were staying away from it, but
yeah,
you were saying that
there
one of
was a
the
chance.
options
Yeah,
and the chance
put
that
some
was
money
there
on
and
the
how
odds.
would it happen that way.
Right. It was, and I did say if it happened, it would probably be that she got the better of her on the grappling of the ground and did stop her. And that's what she did. It was amazing. It's going to be really interesting to see what the rematch looks like. Most people feel that Juliana Pena is not going to win the rematch. I know in boxing there's a habit of the you beat someone once in a high level fight, usually you beat them again. But MMA doesn't really have that. I've been watching to see if a trend's developing over the last 29 years that MMA has existed in the United States, and there really isn't one. Usually, you beat someone, and they could very well beat you in the rematch. So
Right.
it's going to be interesting, but that's what I do think is going to happen.
Well, the puncher's chance is it holds a lot more true in MMA than it does in boxing. I have to admit
yeah,
that.
and there's so many other
And,
ways to win.
well, that's what it is. There's so
Right.
many other ways to win, and it's always a puzzle and trying to piece it together. And actually, I would say it's more of a game of go.
Yeah,
Boxing is a game of chess, and then checkers would be, quite frankly, yeah, wrestling. I
possibly.
mean, I would really say that.
Yeah, very possibly so. What I wonder, Adam, like your opinion on, is it was about a 7.5 to 1 uh, odds in the first fight, with Pena being the dog. In the rematch, it's certainly not going to be 7.5 to 1 Pena being the dog, but I think she could very well be the dog because of people thinking it was somewhat of a fluke with Amanda Nunez not as her best. I'm thinking we're probably going to see Pena like maybe 2 to 1 dog or 3 to 1 dog. Would you agree?
Yeah, I would agree.
And do you think late money would come in on her or on Nunez and make it maybe even a little bit wider?
You know what? I could see Nunez still being favored.
Yeah. Even at the end. So yeah, I think so. I think she'll open up maybe 2.5 to 1 favorite, and then I think maybe even late money come on her.
I think enough people think that that one was a fluke
Yeah,
that
yeah,
she might even come in opening as a favorite.
yeah. I think no. I think she will. I
Yeah,
think she will. The minus is a
and
favorite.
staying a
Yeah,
favorite.
yeah. That I would agree. I would agree. But we've got some great fights coming up this Saturday. We will talk about them for sure. And but I think any minute we're going to be looking out for our first
Well,
guest.
it should pop right up on the screen.
Okay,
They've got
so
us in there in our Zoom that we're looking at.
all
Here,
right.
so
So when he's in there,
I
then
just got
we
the
can.
thumbs up on that. We'll see it.
Okay.
I'll let you know when we're ready to go. There he
There
is.
we go. Excellent. Okay, so why don't we start out and see if he can hear us? Can you hear me, Mason Fowler? Mason, can you hear me? All right, and we're seeing that, and that normally means there's some connection failure, right?
We'll see.
Let's see. All right. Hey, Mason, can you hear me? All right, we're trying to make sure we can connect with Mason Fowler, the SUG grappling champ of Chael Sonnen's organization and one of the best grapplers in the world. Mason, can you hear me?
Looks like he can hear us. We can't hear you for some reason
All
right
right,
now. Give us a second, Mason. We'll figure it out.
excellent. All right, we're going to figure it out, Mason. It looks like you can hear us, but we're not hearing you. So we've got some professional engineers here, and we're going to see if we can figure it out there. But appreciate you.
There he is. I can
Okay,
hear him.
Okay,
now
how about now?
perfect. We got you. Can you hear me still?
Okay, yes, sir.
Excellent. All right. Let me give you an introduction as we are already live. Ladies and gentlemen, so happy to have this next guest on the show for the second time. Grateful to talk to him. And he is one of the best grapplers and jiu-jitsu practitioners, no gi, in the world, although I think he can also do gi. Also fought MMA, the champion of Chael Sonnen submission underground grappling, SUG, and all around amazing guy. We're talking about Mr. Mason Fowler. Welcome back to the show, Mason.
Yeah, thank you so much for the great intro, and it's good to be back.
Thank you. You're very welcome. So I know that for most of the years that people have known you, we've seen you with that brown belt on, but I think just recently we are seeing you with the black belt on. Am I right? And if so, when did that happen?
Yes, sir. Yeah, it's about time, huh?
Right.
So the whole thing with me and having the brown belt was, when I was a purple belt, I was able to win the world championships in the gi
Hmm.
at the purple belt level, and then I got my brown belt, and the first year that I was a brown belt, I had a I had an injury that kept me out of competing in the worlds.
Hmm.
And it's a really important tournament for jiu-jitsu. And my coach, he's very old school, and he thinks that if you're going to be a really good competitive black belt, then you have to win worlds at brown belt first, right?
Hmm.
So the first year I was a brown belt, I was injured and I was unable to compete. And then after that, COVID happened, right? And
Right.
so there was no worlds for 2 years because of COVID.
Right.
So that was kind of the holdup and the reason why I was a brown belt for 3 years, as opposed to most people are, brown belt for 1 or 2 years. I was a brown belt for 3 years, but a lot of people are brown belt still for 3 years, or sometimes even longer. Some people are like 4 years, 5 years brown belt. But
Absolutely.
yeah, I mean, it all paid off because I was able to compete in the worlds and I was able to win as well. So
Absolutely, that makes sense. And you're right. For people that don't know, perhaps people at the highest level, like Mason, would only be a brown belt for a year or two. But people, I think even Chuck Norris, although I know he was a little bit older when he started training, I think the Machados kept him at brown belt for 6 years or something like that. And a lot of people too. I think that in Brazilian jiu-jitsu, giving out a black belt is taken really seriously, right? You don't want to let someone have it who immediately is going to make it clear that they shouldn't have it, or who's got some flaws in their character, or who's gotten a problem with attendance, or who's got a problem with beating up lower belts, or doesn't show up watching their gi, or shows up sick or whatever. And there's various reasons I think a lot of teachers don't want to give it. I think yours wasn't an example of any of those. It was just like you said, the COVID and winning the world championships. But yeah, a lot of people are at brown belt for quite a while. What do you think, though, Mason? If you were, and I'm sure one day if you want to be, you will be the teacher of your own jujitsu school. Would there be almost like a maximum time limit where if your student keeps showing up, that you would promote him to black belt if it's maybe 5 years or 8 years, or do you think there are situations where a guy just should not be promoted to black belt even though he's been a brown belt for 8 years or 10 years or 12 years or something?
yeah, I mean, there's some people that their instructors may never give them the belt. Maybe they're like a know-it-all, or they have a bad attitude with the sport. Um, but I think in my opinion, everyone's different, and I know for sure that I'm not going to give any belts out easily
Right,
because I wasn't given any of the belts easily.
right,
Um, so I definitely I would prefer if people were staying at each belt longer, as opposed to shorter.
Right.
And I think what that does is it keeps the sport pure and it keeps the sport from being watered down.
Yeah.
If you have someone that trains a couple times a week, like 2 or 3 times a week, and they get their black belt in 5 years, um,
Something's wrong, right?
they're not going to fully understand jujitsu, right? When you have someone that's trains twice a day, every day for 10 years, that gets their black belt, it's such a huge difference in the understanding of the art of jujitsu. And then if the tradition continues where people are getting promoted quickly to black belt, and then those people that got their black belt fast, they're going to give out black belts very fast, and they're even going to have a limited knowledge to share to their students, and it's going to keep watering down the sport. Um, as opposed to the people that are being held for 10 years training to get to a really high level before they get the black belt. And then once they're at that level, they're going to be able to teach at that level as well. And they're going to be able to continue that tradition.
Absolutely. And one of the things that I like about Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for people watching that are not that familiar with it is they really do have a lot more criteria that you have to meet to get black belts and even starting from kids. Like one of the things I think we all see, and I think some people are initially impressed when they see it, or some people are happy, or it's being held up as a great thing or whatever. But you'll see in a traditional karate style, not putting that down because I started in traditional karate before I trained jujitsu, but you'll see some school putting a black belt around like a 7-year-old or something like that, and we just don't do that in jujitsu. In fact, I think there is kind of isn't there kind of a uniform rule set or universal rule set when it comes to at what age someone can even get purple, brown, and black?
Yeah, so there's kids belts up until 16, and then once you turn 16, you're eligible to be a blue belt. And then there's also minimum times at the belt levels.
Right.
So you have to spend a minimum of 2 years at the blue belt level, which you see all the time. People are not spending 2 years at blue belt. Even that rule is for high level world class competitors that are training like every day, twice a day, that are competing in tournaments, right? But you see people that are uh, everyday people that train jiu-jitsu a couple times a week, and they'll go through the belt so quickly, less than a year.
Yeah.
Um, so I think the belt minimums are a good thing. So it's 2 years minimum at blue, 1.5 years minimum at purple, and 1 year minimum at brown. So
Makes sense.
then it's 3.5 years. If you were to be a white belt for a year, then you could hypothetically go from white to black in 4.5 years.
Right. Gotcha. And on the older end, like we want jujitsu to be for people of all ages, and I think that's what it was intended for. Elio Gracie, I think, trained almost up until the day he died. I think in his 90s. Not everyone can do that, but I know we have a lot of men and some women that are starting to train when they're 40 or 45 or 50 or even 65. Um, is there any criteria there? Because I mean, obviously, some people can be competing in Masters 3 or whatever it is, but if you are, say 60 years old or 65, and you're just not down for that, should you be able to achieve, even though maybe you can't necessarily beat any younger guys on the ground, you still should be able to get your belts? And do you know how that works? I know you're not anywhere near that age group, but how does that work, do you think, for someone older that feels that they want to be able to go out there, try really hard, but be able to earn some belts?
Yeah, so what I would say is the most important thing is you have to find the right academy that has a program that will um, allow you to learn jiu-jitsu and train hard while also being safe, because if you're 50 or 60, there's a lot higher risk for injury, right?
Yeah.
So you have to make sure that there's a good culture and a good environment at the gym that you're training. Um, you need to make sure that there's a professor there that's going to protect you when there's like, especially if you're like 50 or 60 and you're a blue belt or a purple belt, because there's going to be young 18, 19, 20-year-old white belts that think that if they tap you out, then they're going to get promoted
Right.
and they're going to try as hard as they can. And, people can easily get injured that way.
Yeah.
Um, so I think I definitely do think it is possible to start at like 40 or 50, maybe even 60 and get to the black belt level. I would say you're going to have to train a lot less frequently. You're going to have to allow yourself to recover more. You can probably train 2 to 3 times a week. And just to be safe with who you're training with, it would be great if you had other training partners around your same age at your academy, right?
Hmm.
So yeah, I think the key is just finding the right place, pretty much.
Absolutely. Good advice, and I appreciate that. So you got that black belt during that time that because of COVID and the extra maybe year that you had that brown belt. Did anyone give you a hard time? Did anyone think you were trying to sandbag or embarrass people because as a brown belt you were tapping them out as black belts, or were people pretty much respectful and understanding that there had to be some reason why there was a little bit of a delay for you to get the black?
Yeah, a lot of people were kind of joking about it. No one gave me too much of a hard time.
Cool.
But at the same time, you know, I what the entire time I was a brown belt, I wasn't competing in like belt ranked competitions. I was competing in open rank competitions, so like submission underground, ADCC,
Right.
super fights, things of that nature. So you can't really call it sandbagging because I wasn't competing at like brown belt tournaments,
Right.
right? I was
Right.
competing against black belts.
Right.
Um, so I don't know. It is what it is. I competed one time at the Worlds in my entire 3 years as a brown belt. I competed one time, 2 times at the Pans. I lost once and I won once. So yeah, there's a lot worse cases of sandbagging out
Yes.
there. Like
For sure.
for instance, guys that get second place at Worlds and then they stay for another year and
Right.
then win the next year. Or sometimes guys have even won the Worlds and then stayed for another year and then won the Worlds again.
Yeah.
So
Without a doubt. That's really
I
the
think
true
there's a lot.
sandbagging.
Yeah, yeah. So I think there's a lot worse case. There's one guy that like won the Worlds and got second in the absolute, which is what I did.
Right. And we have a little bit of a video freeze on Mason Fowler's side.
Yeah, that's on his side, unfortunately.
All right, we'll probably.
Okay, let me
There he is.
see.
Okay, we hear you now. Good, we're back. We're looking good again, Mason. All right, and they won it.
Okay.
They won it again. You said, what did they come back a third time or something like that?
Yeah, yeah. So there's a lot of cases of things like that happening.
Yeah.
Um, so I think that the problem was I was kind of like I was a little more talked about because of like the matches with like Craig Jones and stuff like that.
Right.
So that's why it was brought up more than some of
Right.
the other
But
cases.
yeah, but in reality, it was not sandbagging at all. You didn't participate in any brown belt only matches. It was really only against not only black belts but the best in the world. So you're absolutely right. I mean, not that I was saying it was because it wasn't, but it couldn't even be considered that. It's just maybe an unusual scenario, but people had to understand. But it's awesome to see your black belt. Let's catch me up on what's going on, and not just me, but I know a little bit more about what you've been doing. But for people that are watching, you've up before COVID, you were winning and were the defending champion in submission underground grappling for Chael Sonnen. And in this pandemic era, the last couple years, let us know what you've done in SUG and in ADCC and wherever else. Catch us up to at the moment what's been going on. Let's say your last 4, 5, 6 matches.
Yeah. So over the summer, I had like a small injury, and I had about 2 months off, and I came back from that. Came straight back from that into a competition with Flow Grappling. It was one of the biggest, probably the biggest shows of the year. It was the Who's Number One Championships, and I won the first round and was injured and unable to uh, continue in the tournament.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then 2 weeks later, I was back to submission underground for my like ninth eighth or ninth title defense.
Mm-hmm. Who did you compete with
And
there?
then one, Gabriel Checo.
Oh,
So it
wow.
was scheduled to be Kyle Boehm,
Mm-hmm.
who we've been scheduled to compete against each other a couple times.
Mm-hmm.
And it's never worked out. And now he was injured.
Again, yeah,
So a lot of injuries in jiu-jitsu, right?
definitely.
And so Gabriel Checo stepped in to replace him, and it was actually a really tough match too. So hats off to Gabriel Checo.
Definitely good
Um,
competitor.
yeah. So then after defended one month later was the ADCC trials, and was able to win that. And then the next month after that was the IBJJF Worlds with the gi, and I was able to get first place in my division and second place in the absolute, the
That's
openweight division.
that's awesome. Those are some great matches, and you normally compete no gi, but you looked really comfortable with the gi. Have you competed more in gi than I'm remembering, or is it something that's somewhat newer for you?
I used to more um, before, like when I was a purple belt, and even in the beginning of my brown belt career, I was always competing more in the gi than I was no gi.
Okay.
And then eventually, like after I won the ADCC trials, all of the offers and stuff that I was getting were no gi. Everyone wanted no gi, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, before that, like before I won the ADCC trials, I was competing everywhere in the gi, like nonstop gi everywhere.
Interesting. So, who were the last three opponents that you competed with? And I guess you won 2 out of 3, losing the first in the absolute and coming in second. Is that right?
Yeah, yeah. So I lost to Pedro Machado. He's a kid from Brazil. He's really good.
Mm-hmm.
He ended up getting double gold.
Mm,
And then my two matches before that were I don't remember the kids' names. There were two Brazilian kids in the absolute.
gotcha. And so that was all IBJJF, or that was also including ADCC.
Yeah, IBJJF. I had 6 matches in one day.
Wow, that's crazy. And you compete a
Yeah.
lot. It seems like your recovery ability is pretty good, even from injuries. You just come back after 4 weeks, 5 weeks, 6 weeks, and that's got to be a good feeling to be able to keep going. And then also, I
No,
think,
I feel terrible all the time. I have no recovery.
oh no, that sucks. You just make it happen. 'Cause I remember you told me that one of the good things about being active a lot is you can earn a paycheck, and paychecks help to stay alive. And so you're a guy that believes in the grind. It seems like, and you're not afraid to show up. And you're right. Sometimes you're maybe not feeling that great, but with Nogi, you have a really pretty good streak going of a lot of wins in a row, don't you?
Yeah, yeah. My last loss, Nogi, was maybe in like April of last year against Kainan Duarte.
Right, right.
So I had one loss in Nogi and one loss in the gi in last year total.
Gotcha. That's not bad, and a lot of wins. What's on the horizon next? Has anything been signed in either SUG or anywhere else?
I have a match for this upcoming promotion called RCS Promotions,
Hmm.
and that is going to be like the in the Massachusetts area. It's in like the East Coast,
Right.
and that's a really cool promotion. I really like what they're doing as far as marketing. I like what they're doing as far as taking care of the fighters,
Hmm.
the athletes. I think they're doing really, really good things. They have a really good graphic designer. They make really cool designs, posters,
Nice.
and to me, it seems like they're doing all the right things. So I'm looking forward to seeing what happens with this promotion. I can see them growing into one of the staples of jiu-jitsu eventually.
That would be very
Um,
cool. What's your name again, and where can that broadcast be found?
yeah, that's RCS Promotions. So
Okay.
if you're watching and you want to check them out, you can just probably go to their Instagram page and find out more information there. So the next match that I'm doing with them is it's going to be pay-per-view. It's a 15-minute submission only super fight.
Oh wow.
I'm the main event, and then there's going to be 20 or 30 other matches on there as well.
Nice.
And it'll be on pay-per-view. They give a kickback to the athletes, like
Good.
the athletes on the main card get a percentage of the pay-per-view buys and stuff like that. So I think it's really cool
I
what
like
they're
that.
doing.
I like that. Is there a date and an opponent set for that?
Yeah, it's January 22nd. It's in like 2 weeks
Oh, wow.
against Chris Shangoli.
Cool.
Or is it a week? Next week is fight week, I think.
Yeah, actually, well, let me see. Today is the 11th, so it'd be 11 days from now. That's going to be the same day as a UFC. Do you know the time? Is that hopefully going to be earlier than the UFC?
I think ours is on.
Because Saturday
yeah,
is
it's on
22nd.
Saturday.
Yeah, is it?
Oh yeah, it might be the same. It might be the same time as the UFC.
I mean,
I'm gonna
still,
have to hurry up and tap the guy quick so I can
yeah.
watch the fight.
Exactly. I was gonna say, but I know a lot of people will check you out. We'll definitely check you out there. Well, let's talk a little bit. 'Cause we want to not keep you too long. But we got maybe say like about 10 more minutes, if that's okay with you. Let's.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
appreciate it. Appreciate it. So you did things in an unusual way. We have a lot of BJJ competitors who eventually go to MMA. You did it in reverse. You were in MMA first, and I know you mentioned the concussions were not turning out to be a real good thing for you, and you actually did have the foresight to see the writing on the wall, at least at least for the time being, if not permanently, that that's something you don't want to be in the midst of damaging yourself that in that way. And so you've gone from MMA to BJJ. I think that there's a lot of crossover in the fans, and I think hopefully more and more MMA fans will tune into to BJJ. And if so, you guys are watching. Mason is one of the best grapplers in the world, and he did compete in MMA. So you would like his style. It's aggressive, and like you mentioned, Mason, you have an interesting, unique style. With going along with your body, you're not the smallest guy, but you're not the biggest guy. You're not a huge heavyweight. You're not super tall, but you're very limber. So you got strength, power, and like a power type of a body with that limberness, which is I think makes for a unique style. And I know I started in BJJ late. And I kind of, I shouldn't say that. I got my feet wet a little bit in my mid-20s, but that was a long time ago. I never paid much attention to it, and then didn't really start jumping back in until my late 30s. And by then, a lot of the limberness and movement, I was a little bit stiffer. And not that I was ever going to be an elite athlete like yourself, probably not. But I just kind of realized that, I was never going to find out maybe possibly how good I could have been. But I knew that I was like an average sized guy who had good strength. And when I was younger, I was kind of limber, but that was kind of gone. And so you have that kind of unique style where you have that power and that strength and that limberness, and it makes your game really, unique, and I think that, and just your determination, your skill makes you really successful. And I want to ask you some stuff about MMA, but is there anything else you can add to that about your style that you think is going to would be interesting for people to watch?
Yeah, I do think that with my style, I have a combination of um being aggressive and like trying to kill the guy, and then also being patient and technical as well. Um, so yeah, I think if you're looking to learn or see grappling at a high level, then you should definitely check it out.
Absolutely. What weight do you usually compete at, and how close is that to a weight that you walk around at?
Um, like at the Gi Worlds, I competed at super heavy, which was 222, and like I woke up this morning at like 216. But then you weigh in with the gi, so it's like 3 or 4 pounds, right? So I'm exactly right on weight for super heavy.
Right.
But for 80 cc, I'm gonna have to get down to 194.
Okay. And where have you been competing for people that have been watching Submission Underground? Where were you normally there? Right about 200 or under, or a little bit over?
Like 215 normally.
Oh, wow. Okay. So you're going to be going smaller than normal for 80 cc, you're saying.
Yeah, I'll have to cut weight for 80 cc, or at least just diet down like about 20 pounds.
Okay. And so when you're going with your normal walk around weight, you're probably normally going with bigger guys because they're cutting down 15, 20, 25 pounds, right? So a lot of the guys that you're competing with at super heavyweight are probably anywhere from 15 to 20, 25 pounds heavier than, or maybe even more than that, because there's no weight. So I assume sometimes you're giving away 30 or 40 pounds even, right?
Yeah, when I do the open weight competitions, then I end up going against people that are a lot heavier than me. Um, but for super heavy, they're close enough in size, like within 5 or 10 pounds.
Makes sense. And whereas when you're going to cut to 190, you said what, 194 or 195, something like that?
Yeah,
That's going to be a weight where you actually can be probably, you know, average or one of the bigger competitors. And is that
yeah.
do you ever think about wanting to do that more? I'm sure there are some people that will probably say, "Hey, Mason, why not take the advantage? Why not always go in and compete with guys where you're at 195?" But is that something you've ever thought about doing, or you're not really interested in doing that?
It just depends. I don't. The thing with jujitsu is like you can compete every freaking weekend, really, right?
Mm-hmm.
When I used to fight MMA, I used to cut down to 170, but you fight once every like 4 months, So pretty much diet for 3 months, and then you have 1 month off of dieting, right?
Right.
Uh, and then you would diet for 3 months to make 170, and then you have 1 month off. But for jujitsu, it's like there's competitions all the time, right? So I don't want to be I don't want to cut weight every single weekend. Like I don't want to always be dieting. To me, like the training's already hard enough. I've been training for like 10 years consistently. I was when I was doing MMA, I was dieting for like 5 years, always killing myself to make weight.
Right.
Um, so for now, like a big thing that's just important for me is also just like being happy and uh I still eat really clean, but I'm not like always constantly starving myself like I was before. I was literally just like always starving myself. As soon as I stopped fighting MMA, I put on so much muscle just because I was not starving myself, and I got so much bigger. So yeah, like for something important like ADCC, I'm gonna diet down to the 194, and I'm gonna have to diet for probably 2 months. It's gonna suck, but I'm not starving myself year round. You
That's
know.
good. It's healthier and safer to not be doing that, and then do it on a rare occasion. Makes sense. Are you still looking for that rematch with Craig Jones in ADCC or anything, or any thoughts still about that, or is that in the back burner?
Yeah, I'm sure we're gonna have a rematch at ADCC
That
for
would
sure.
that would be
Me,
amazing.
him, and Mateus Deniz are probably. I would assume that us three are like the top three seeds in the bracket, so we're gonna end up all fighting each other
Ab-
eventually in that bracket.
Absolutely. So in MMA, are there any people that you like to watch in MMA? And is it people that just are famous and well known and great champions, or are there some people you like to watch really because they're good jujitsu players?
I mean, I do love to see beautiful jujitsu. Just trying to think off the top of my head who's the best. I mean, Charles Oliveira is probably the best
Right.
jiu-jitsu player.
Right.
I think he has the record for the most submissions in the UFC, and he's the UFC champ.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I do love to see really good high level wrestling as well. I love to see high level boxing, and I love to see high level kickboxing. It's just something about the fluidity of somebody that's an expert in one of those divisions that's fighting in the UFC. Um, so yeah, definitely love. I love all four.
Absolutely. We only got a few minutes left here, Mason. Has MMA ever tried calling you back in there, or have people ever tried to push you into thinking about it again? And is that a possibility, or is the door absolutely closed to that?
I hope the door's closed because it wouldn't be smart for me to go back.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
I do think about it a lot. Probably like maybe every day.
yeah, yeah. And if you were in there, you'd probably be 185, I'd imagine, unless you really didn't want to cut
Yeah,
weight. But yeah, otherwise, and
yeah, I'd have to be 185.
yeah, and because it seems like some divisions are more stacked than the other, and that I mean, there's some good people there, but it's not as stacked as the lighter weight divisions. Let me ask you about this matchup here before we go. There's an interesting matchup with two really good grapplers coming up in about a month and a half, I think. It's going to be Habib's teammate and protege, Islam Makhachev or Mahachev, however you pronounce it, I think, going up against Benil Dariush. And it's a really
It's a
interesting
good
match.
fight.
Yeah, yeah, and I've talked to Benil on several occasions. He's an amazing guy, really good attitude, like yourself, nice guy. I think he's a good black belt in jiu-jitsu. He's done some goods, pulled off some 6 submissions in the UFC. He's also got really good power. He's on a great winning streak of like 7 wins in a row. Of course, Islam is on a win streak of 9 in a row, and Islam usually just ends up going in there and pancaking everybody, and doesn't really have. Seems like he's not really going against like a lot of guys who are good off their back or who really have that great jujitsu. Period. And now he's got Benil Dariush in there. How do you think that fight plays out, and or what are a couple ways that you think that fight might go?
So I um, right, and he's at AKA. He does his fight camps at AKA,
Right, which is
and here in San Jose
a friend of
as
yours.
well.
You're saying a friend of yours.
So
You got kind of muffled there.
yeah, so I've had people that are good black belts that I know
Hmm.
that have went, and I've never gotten a chance to train with him,
Right.
but I know guys that have trained with him that are guys that know jujitsu. You know what I mean? And at a jujitsu level, not at an MMA level, they
Right.
know jujitsu like I know jujitsu.
Right.
And everyone that I talk to that are like really smart jujitsu guys,
Hmm.
they all say that Islam is like really, really good, not just wrestling, but also with jujitsu.
Okay.
He's not like a stubborn wrestler that just always wants to like wrestle, wrestle, wrestle. He trains a lot of jujitsu. And so I think people are going to be surprised. I know Benil's a good black belt, but I know guys that are like some of the best black belts in the world,
Right.
and they speak very highly of Islam's grappling and
Right.
his jiu-jitsu.
Right.
So yeah, I'm excited for the fight. I'm a huge fan of Benil as well, but I just have a little bit more of a connection, I guess, to Islam because we're here both in the same city.
Yep.
But yeah, I look forward to the fight, to watching the fight as a fan.
Absolutely, me too. Well, look forward to you competing. And again, remind me of this next promotion and let us know if there's a. You did say the date, January 22nd. It's RCS. Is that what it is?
Yeah, RCS Promotions.
Excellent. And you still working with Sug or no?
Yeah, yeah. So Sug isn't doing any shows until March, early March. So I will hopefully be headlining that one.
Awesome.
March, supposed to be around March 7th, maybe.
Awesome. Look forward to it, man. It just seems like you're getting better and better. Glad to see that much deserved black belt around your waist. I got to purple and not my body's breaking down. I'm old, so I like to say maybe in my next life I'll see you at black belt. I hope if we get reincarnated. But in the meantime, I'll be cheering for you. Really appreciate it, Mason Fowler. You keep up the great work, man, and big respect to you.
You can make it there. Just train smart and don't go with any young 18-year-olds that are trying to freaking make a name off you.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it, man. I'll do my best. Thanks again, man. Always great talking to you.
Well, have a good night.
You too.
See you later.
See you later. Take care. And that was Mason Fowler. Really good guy. Amazing, amazing jiu-jitsu player. Competed in MMA and is Chael Sonnen's favorite guy.
Not just amazing, arguably the best.
Well,
if
up
not
up
one
there,
of.
I mean, a lot of people bestow that upon Gordon Ryan, and then our guest from a few weeks ago, Buchecha, Marcus Almeida's up there, but Mason Fowler is a young guy. He's still 28, I think, 28, 29,
Right.
is up there in the top 5, probably.
100% in the top 5, and man, I'm
Amazing
just excited to see where he keeps rolling with things,
Absolutely.
literally and figuratively. But yeah, Colin, we've got another amazing guest coming up here in a second. But real quick before we get into that, I want to give all of you a shout out. Thank you so much for all the love and attention that you give us on the Hannibal TV. And if you're not on the Hannibal TV, you're on MMA Power Hour social media. So make sure to go on over and hit up the opposite side of the stick here, the Hannibal TV on YouTube. how many followers over there is he up to now? Like 300,
Like
almost 400,000?
Yeah, like 350 or something, I think.
Yeah, so hitting 400,000 followers on YouTube, and we love being a part of that.
That's it, man.
And we're also looking at increasing some stuff here with exposure via Lift Token, huge partner of the show. I am actually a blockchain architect. I am a little bit of a nerd outside of MMA, as you can tell. Just look at me, right? Everybody jokes, makes fun of me being the skinny nerd. Yeah, I love it. Hey,
man.
you know what? We're taking over the world, and we're winning right now.
That's right.
I'm going to keep rolling with it, and make sure to visit lifttoken.io. Make sure to do your research. Always do your own research when you're looking into cryptocurrencies. In the case of Lift Token, it is all about sustainability and ethics in business, and there's a lot of cool things that we're doing with proof of ownership via NFTs, but next level, connecting the metaverse with physical items. So pretty cool stuff, patent pending on something coming out here, and we're going to release that at the Lee Steinberg NFL party. Super Bowl party, more
Yes.
specifically. The Lee Steinberg Super Bowl party will be there, so any of you that have been invited, make sure to stop by. The Lift Token Lounge will be set up there, having a lot of fun, and there will be a giveaway in combination with the New Jersey Teamsters Football Club. So I wanted to throw that out. Also, make sure to hit up our social media. It's at MMA Power Hour. And we're going to keep an eye up here, Colin, for our next guest, so we'll be able to see them pop up. And
Yes, absolutely. Well, we know this is all good things that Dr. Adam Roorda is involved with. He knows what's going on, and this Lift Token is for real. Harrison, you know about sustainability and all that good stuff, don't you? Yep.
he's like, kind of.
He kind of.
He's like, I know carbon credits exist, but what does that mean? I don't know.
Yep. NFTs, and that doesn't just stand for nifty, or
No, it stands for non-fungible token. For those
That's
of you
true.
that want to know and learn, go ahead and hit us up on lifttoken.io. I'm going to keep running with it.
Absolutely, man. It's the best, man. And those of you that are using lithium batteries for your Energizer Bunny, keep using it. Those of you who are taking lithium because you need to take it, keep taking it. Don't get off your medicine.
Yeah, please don't. If
Do
you've been
not.
prescribed it, definitely don't get off it.
No.
We don't like to see mental illness affecting people adversely. That's
No,
all.
because it's so hard, man. During this pandemic and all this insanity and uncertainty, and everyone's afraid to go out, and everyone's afraid to cough or sneeze, and everyone's wondering where they're going to take their mask off, or they're wanting the person next to them to put 2 masks on, or Dr. Fauci, you love him, you hate him. It's this bizarre, weird, insane times that
Everybody's
we're in
just
now.
being so divided about everything. You know what? Let's just
Yeah.
go back to getting along and you
Yes.
stay in the home if you feel sick. That's all there is to it.
That's
It's
it.
pretty easy. We used to do that.
Yep.
Believe it or not, we used to do that.
Yep,
So
it's
maybe
it.
we can go back to that.
Yeah,
Colin.
I know. People just got to look out for themselves and their fellow man. And
Yeah,
woman.
maybe we can just go back to being, normal.
That's it. We need to. We go back to go back to normal, and it doesn't have to be a new crappy normal. It can be the regular normal where we're just.
So
normal
while we're
people.
waiting, we actually had a guest ask us a question here, and I'm sorry, some of you I haven't been able to.
Well,
see
not a guest, a viewer, right?
A viewer, sorry, ask a question about Triple C. Henry Cejudo, is he going to be back in the UFC? Is he being totally ignored by the UFC right now? What's going on? What are your thoughts?
So Max Holloway fell out of the fight with Alexander Volkanovski. That would have been not the rubber match because Volk won both of the first 2 matches, but they were very close. So a lot of people might think that in a way this is kind of the rubber match. So Holloway's out. Sorry for sucking on a lozenge. I've been kind of a little bit run down.
Well,
lately,
here's the reality. Dana was saying that Henry Cejudo would be back. Henry's sitting here, playing his game.
he wants to.
and-
The money's right.
If the money's right, but he's not really acting like he cares either.
Well,
anymore.
you know what though? He has always said that one of the people he would come back against is Alexander Volkanovski, because that would make him the only person in UFC history to win 3 titles.
I'm going to tell you this, okay? Somebody told me in confidence, so I'm breaking a rule right now. Don't be pissed off at me. I'm not going to say who it was, so that way it's
Not
a
me,
little,
right,
and
but
it's been long enough now. We're
Yeah,
probably okay,
yeah,
but
yeah.
I was told that Henry Cejudo was planning on coming back, and close enough resource, I know it was credible, okay? He was planning on coming back if the money was right, and it was all a play to get that contract. But I think Dana is playing the other end of the stick, and I think that's pretty much what the question is. Is the UFC playing the other end of the stick and saying, no, you're
Right.
way too expensive?
Right.
And I think that really is what's going on behind the scene.
It may be,
And-
although I think. Sorry, go ahead.
And quite frankly, he's not going to win that battle. No fighter has to date. I think the only one that stands a chance winning that battle is Ngannou.
Right, right, and I agree. The thing is this: if Cejudo is allowed to step in for Max Holloway and fight for that third different weight division belt, not only has no one ever won uh, uh, UFC title in three different weight classes, but I don't think anyone's even ever fought for a UFC title in three weight classes. I'm pretty sure they haven't. And so he, I think, would back down a bit on the money if he can step in. What is it? 3 weeks, 4 weeks from now, or whatever the heck there. 5 weeks that was supposed to be when it was supposed to be Volkanovski Holloway 3. The thing is this: he has a record of 0 wins and 0 losses at featherweight. He's been a flyweight champion and most recently a bantamweight champion. At featherweight, I've always said that's the most stacked division in the UFC. A lot of people argue with me and say it's lightweight. Some people even say it's welterweight. But there's so many killers at featherweight. And in reality, over Henry Cejudo, so many guys deserve to step up here, including Josh Emmett, who we've had on our show many, many times. He's a great guy. He deserves it. To beat Magomed Sharapov is injured, but if not, he would deserve it. And then there's the Korean Zombie, who they are talking about possibly being the guy they give the fight to. There's Giga Chikadze. There's Brian Ortega, although he just came off a loss. There's gosh, my mind's kind of afraid, but there's several guys at Calvin Kattar, although he's got to fight with Giga. There's just some other really, really good fighters also at 145, and to let Cejudo jump the line and go with a 0-0 record in the weight division to fighting for the title just doesn't seem very fair. And so what I feel is that a lot of people have said they're ready to fight. Giga's ready to jump out of the fight with Kattar if he gets a title. Cater's willing to jump. Who else is there? I think, the Zombie said he's ready. Josh Emmett says he's ready. And I don't know why I think there's someone else that I'm blinking.
Josh would be exciting.
It would be very exciting.
Jumping the line against Josh, I just don't see.
It wouldn't be right, but Cejudo's got the name value, you know what I mean? And so, but anyway, he'd be willing to come down in money if he gets this shot.
Right.
But what I'm hearing is it's going to be the Zombie. And the tough thing is that Josh Emmett is coming off of like 6 wins in a row. The Zombie has won only like 2 out of his last 4 fights.
Well, it's not always about fair. Sometimes it's about tickets and sales, and well, really, it's always about that. And I mean, I guess I kind of get it, just because you have the Asia markets by having Zombie in there, but
and he's super popular. Let me see. I think
I mean, there's no reason Emmett shouldn't be super popular to most people either.
Right. He is, and he's really paid his dues. So I'm not seeing our guest here, and he was due 8 minutes ago.
That happens.
Yeah. And so we know all the invites went out, right, Harrison? Yep. And did we get any responses back from from our guests at all? Do you know?
Nope, no responses like that. Nope.
We're ready for you as soon as you can. Jump in on the Zoom link, my friend. It was sent to your email. Period.
And calling in his dictation live on air, that's part of the gig.
That's part of the fun. You know what I mean?
So it really is. And you guys see me looking away. We've got a monitor, a TV monitor over here for me to look at. So that's why I'm looking away. I can tell I'm looking at, like, it's very, what's the word? Quizzical? No. Anyways.
Anyway. Oh no. Actually, you know what? 6:50. He's only
1 or 2 minutes late.
Yeah, he's only like 4 minutes late. Yeah,
oh, sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's within reason.
Okay, yeah.
We can handle that.
Yeah. So that's not bad. So I know that sometimes we do a 6:45 start. but this-
Hey, Colin, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and throw out real quick that everybody out there, you need to go ahead and hit us up on all of our social media. It's a little inactive right now, but we do have stuff out there. It's at MMA Power Hour. We're going to have a ton of surprises coming out this year, so just make sure you're following, keeping up to date. It may be dead for a little while, but at some point, we're just going to have a bomb dropped. It'll be a ton of amazing content. So make sure to follow us at MMA Power Hour. And if you're actually already on our social media, checking us out in our group on Facebook, make sure to head on over to the Hannibal TV on both Facebook and YouTube. Make sure to follow and subscribe. There's tons of people there. We're all very appreciative for the follows, the subscriptions. It's amazing seeing the support and just grow and grow, and it still is, especially now that we went back off onto our own again.
Yes.
We're actually doing a lot better already.
Yep, we are.
It's
we are.
kind of amazing.
Yeah, it is. We're excited to continue to blow up. We've been doing this almost 5 years now. March.
And nothing against our past partners. It's just there's a certain way that Colin and I know how to do things for our show, and we've done quite well with it. So we're going to keep doing that and enjoying. And part of enjoying is having you guys interact with us a little bit. So drop us some notes here. And when we get super swamped and we're like in the middle of an interview with a guest, if you want a question asked, hop on over to the Hannibal TV YouTube, drop a tip, and we'll ask the question for you.
Exactly.
That's one of our stipulations. If you want a question asked and it's in the middle of an interview,
right,
make sure to drop a tip in the YouTube. I see it and it pops up, and then we're able to go ahead and answer it.
And we will ask your question to that guest. And so we appreciate it. Need because use your support and every little bit counts to allow us to keep on going.
Colin, it's fun. I'm sitting here looking at the screen, and it makes me just look like I just don't care.
No, I know. It looks like kind of you're all laid back with the.
We're gonna have to get this figured out with the screen placement in the future. It's fine here for tonight, but yeah.
Yeah, is that it? It looks like you're kind of nonchalant there, and.
Well, I promised them an extra monitor too, and I haven't brought that in, so I'll have to do that. I have extra ones sitting around, and I'm moving soon.
There, it's right,
dude. I'm excited to move.
Yeah,
moving into this nice 3-bedroom house out of a basement style,
beautiful
apartment, and you've been in there how much with the old studio?
Yep, yes, I have.
A little bat cave.
Yep, that's it. The old bat cave there. This is going to be a new, improved bat cave, so that's cool, man. I'm really glad that you get to do that.
Oh, dude, this setup here, I'm so excited for just being here and continuing into the new year, just testing things out. This studio is so amazing. Third Wheel Podcast Studios in Los Angeles, an amazing studio. For those of you that want to do a podcast or a live stream, this is the go-to place in all of Los Angeles. 100%.
Exactly. So I think Harrison's got. Do you have some communication from our guest? No.
Nah, he's pretty much saying, "Yo, what's up?" That's
he's just
great.
giving the chicken symbols and whatever else is right. It's, but
chicken symbols. What's it?
I don't know what that is. It's just, reminds me of the old Little Caesars pizza where someone was making a pterodactyl.
We're all like,
yeah, remember that? He said you get 2 pizzas, right? Right. In other places,
that's
is that pterodactyl?
No, I think it's a velociraptor. I think it was Jim Carrey that did that in Lemony Snicket's.
That's right.
I think he did do that. It was like
that velociraptor. Harrison, can you do a velociraptor impression? No, not quite. No. All right, that's all right.
I mean, I just tried.
Yeah, there we go. Remember that? That was it. The pizza. Then they said at other pizza places, you get. They say 2 pizzas are a pizza and the box, and that's your 2 pizzas. But a little, pizza. Then you get your real 2. Oh, here we go. He's walking over to the teammates' room. He'll stop and do the interview before he starts training. Okay, so we should be hearing from him in about 2 minutes.
Yeah, hopefully so.
Sounds great. Much appreciated.
Wow.
All right.
Wow. You know what? I love it when guests actually interact with us and they're like, "Oh, I'm just handling something real quick." There he is.
Yep. That's it. Good communication.
So we'll be in here and handling this.
All right. There we go. All right. Can you hear me, Joseph? Can you hear me?
He can hear us. We can't hear him.
All right. Can you hear me now?
Yep. I got you now. We're gonna bring you in
awesome.
live.
Let me sit down right here real quick. 3 seconds.
Sounds good. It's the old 3-second rule, right? What do they call that when you drop something on the ground, right?
3-second rule.
3 seconds to pick it up off the ground. But you're good. But I'll give you an intro while you're getting ready to get situated. Ladies and gentlemen, happy to have this guest on the show for the first time. He is making his UFC debut coming up this Saturday. This is a man they call the Ugly Man, Joseph Holmes. Welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks a lot for having me.
You're welcome. You're a pretty good-looking guy to be the Ugly Man. How did you get that moniker?
We came up with that with the group I created in college. It was just called Ugly Man Gang. And it was just a good way for us to express ourselves. Just kind of like, it's not about being ugly. It's just more so, sorry, I keep getting a call. It's not about being ugly. It's just more so about knowing who you are.
Right.
And anybody can have their opinion of you, but as long as you know who you are, you're totally fine.
I like it, man. I like it. So the name Holmes is synonymous with boxing, with Larry Holmes. And you any relation to Larry Holmes?
Nah, no relation to Larry Holmes.
That's all right. But, man, I'll tell you, I'm excited about seeing you jump in to the UFC, and we appreciate you. We're normally grabbing people that are in, like, the top 30, top 20, but, like, once in a while I get a good feeling about someone and I hear some buzz about someone, and, and I did about you, and I'm not trying to say, like, I'm doing you any favor because you're doing us a favor jumping on, but I got a good feeling about you, man. You're doing some amazing stuff in other leagues. You won all your amateur fights, and then you had only one loss by decision in your pro debut, and you've won 7 in a row since then, all 7 by stoppage. So you're a guy that goes in there and finishes business. I think you have like 4 rear naked chokes. Let me ask you, is that somewhat random that happened, or is that one of the moves that you got in jiu-jitsu that you feel really comfortable with?
It's definitely one of my go-to submissions. Like taking the back. As long as like you can be behind someone, you can keep yourself safe. So that's something I've definitely lived by. Yeah, kind of random. It wasn't like what we planned on doing, but it was definitely, where I knew I was strongest at on the ground.
Excellent. And then I think you have 5 submissions and 2 TKOs, and so you're finishing pretty quick there. And so when you jump up into the UFC, I know that everyone's mind is that business is business. I know you're not diminishing the level of your opponent in the UFC, but you fought in some pretty good promotions, so I'm sure you're feeling comfortable with jumping to the UFC. What do you think about your opponent, Jamie Pickett, and how is your attitude either the same or is it a little bit different than just these past several fights?
I feel that Jamie Pickett's a tough guy. He's definitely earned where he is. I'm excited to fight against him. I think I definitely have his number. His skill isn't something that I haven't seen before. But the feelings are all kind of the same as far as like, getting ready for a fight and, cutting weight. It's definitely different now that I have like the new amenities I have. I got like a nutritionist through the UFC's here, which is great. Like a lot of guys aren't eating during their weight cut, and like I have somebody here designated to help me, so that's awesome. I have access to the PI, which is totally awesome. Like the dream come true to be able to go over there and train with those guys that the UFC picked to, work with their fighters. So it feels great to have some of the new like perks, but still the same as far as, getting prepared for a fight.
Absolutely. And when you have 7 finishes in a row, obviously, everyone loves to see a finish. Obviously, that excitement is what the UFC wants. Do you keep it a secret, like where your mindset is, or can you tell me, is your camp and you looking for a finish to continue with that streak? Or where's your mindset at as far as your thoughts going into the fight with Pickett?
We're absolutely looking for a finish. We're ever since I lost the one fight I lost, I've never, been willing to accept a decision. So any fight I have since that day is going to be a finish. We plan on it being a finish, whether it be, a choke or something on the ground or, knocking them out like I have been doing recently.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, we're absolutely looking for a finish and planning on finishing.
I like it. And this is going to be in Las Vegas. Is it at the Apex or where's this fight at?
Yes, it is at the Apex. I'm in Vegas right now. I got here today.
Very, very cool. And that's gonna have some fans, but I think it's only like VIPs. I don't know if you know, but what is it, like 100 people?
Yeah, there's not going to be any fans outside of like people that work for the UFC.
Okay,
There's
you're
not
right.
going to be any
Okay.
people here.
Because I think because now with this Omicron and whatever, they're kind of going back to that. Because I know that for like a couple of months, I think you could see like 150 people out there, but not anymore. Okay, so this is going to be back kind of where it was in the middle of the pandemic. Is that a positive for you? Maybe where like you can get your feet wet in the UFC without having to worry about all kinds of people screaming, or would it have not mattered to you, or do you think it would have been even more fun with a lot of people screaming?
I definitely think it'd be a lot of fun because I know a lot of people who would have came if this was an open event. Like a lot of people were telling me, give me information. We're gonna buy tickets. We want to go. We want to go. And stuff like that. But also just for me to be able to come in here and just handle my business is great too. I actually loved like my contender fight when it wasn't an open event and I got to just focus on the fight, and that was amazing. So yeah, I'm okay with either or, but I guess if I had to pick one that I prefer, it'd probably be this way. I prefer it to be a little bit more intimate and personal.
Makes sense. A little bit low key. I guess low key, old term, old school, low key.
Yeah, low
Not
key, a
right,
little low key.
right, right. That makes sense. But so you're a specimen for a middleweight, 6'4", and you look like you just said, you're able to even eat a little bit, and so obviously you have a good ability to be near this weight, and that definitely gives you some advantages. I think he's like about what 6'2", so he's also kind of tall, but not as tall as you are. It's funny how it seems like a lot of guys that are 6'2" have a lot of problems with the guys that are 6'4" for some reason because they're used to a middleweight being taller themselves. So
Yeah, being taller than their opponent, and now they're facing a taller opponent.
right. So then but you know what I wonder also sometimes, man, and tell me what your thought is about this because I know you've been in the fight game for a little bit. You have your I think 4-0 as an amateur and 7-1 as a pro, but it's not like you have like
7-0.
7-0. Right, right. Okay. And you got a guy like Pickett who's had a win and a couple of losses in the UFC. Sometimes I think to myself, that's a guy that's got to be like kind of feeling up against the wall a little bit, right? Like that's a guy that's got to be thinking, man, I have to beat this next guy, And when if that's the case, does that mean like he's going to be trying even harder? Is he going to be maybe trying to mix it up a little bit, or what would you think going up?
I would definitely
against
think he's going to try and come out pretty aggressive. He's going to, definitely try to grab me. He's going to shoot for a lot of takedowns just because, for him, it ain't about how he looks anymore. It's about, getting a win no matter what.
Right.
So I'm really excited to face that type of Jamie Pickett because I feel like before he may have been too focused on how he looks and, how his punches look coming out and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm excited to face this version of him, and hopefully he comes out with the version he needs to to put up an awesome fight and stuff. So that he can do what he's trying to do as well. So I don't know. I'm really excited that I got this opponent, and as well as the situation where he's gonna have to bring it. This is his last chance to really just bring it.
Absolutely. So yeah, you're against a motivated guy, but then he bring the fight to you, and I'm sure in the back of your mind you'd love to win that bonus, but I guess probably most people can't like embrace that too much at this time, right? Or can they?
I mean, if it happens, it happens. I mean, I'm sure he's not going to go out easy just because, like, his heart and all the anxiety he has, just everything telling him, he has to win. So I'm sure he's going to be able to take some hard blows, and he's going to serve some himself. And I'm sure it's going to be a war. So if we both, just last like our trainings, trained us to last, and you could possibly have fight of the night right here.
That would be cool. And what are you guys like when the fight card starts? I know this is your debut, so I know you're not going to be like in the main card. But are you like what 2 fights in, 3 fights in, or first fight?
No, I'm the fight before the main card starts.
Sweet, wow. So that would mean then that would be the headliner on the prelims.
Yeah, I'm headlining the prelims, and hey, you never know. I could end up getting moved up to the main card.
That would be something, man. That's got to make you happy because a lot of guys in your position, their first fight, they might have been the first fight of the night when the card
That's what
started.
I wished. I do wish that we were the first fight of the night, but
Right.
it is what it is.
Yeah, hey, more people get some eyes on you, and you know you can do what you do. Tell us a little bit about where you train now, and any training partners and teammates or coaches that have helped you for this camp.
Yeah, I train at SFS MMA in Dallas, Texas. That's located on Townies Boulevard, right next to Townies Mall. I train with there. I have a couple of my main guys who I've always trained with. Jared Ingram, he's an up and coming amateur, but savage, undefeated amateur. And a couple of my kiddos who have fights coming up this week and then in February and stuff. But I also train at Glory MMA in Kansas City. That's where I train with Julian Marquez and Jason Witt and Zach Cummings and all those professional UFC fighters who've been in the game way longer than I have.
Absolutely, yeah. And we've had almost all of them on the show, and James Krause, and actually we're working on getting James back on the show. I just communicated with him actually yesterday, and we were about to get him on, but then the hour he's with his kids at these hours usually, but we're still going to try to work it out. Again, we had him on before the pandemic, and then we've had Zach on, and we've had Marquez on, and they're an amazing team over there at Glory MMA, man.
Oh, yeah.
It's just the guys really fight smart there, and have a strategy, and
yeah, we got a great strategy over there. It's amazing.
Nice. Who's going to be in your corner? Is any of those guys or James going to be in your corner?
Yeah, James, of course. My professor, Anthony Salangsang, and then my girlfriend, Kaylee Marnell.
Nice. That's cool. Last time I heard someone's girlfriend was in there was when Mike Perry from Detroit had the only person in his corner was his girlfriend. She's about 4 feet tall. With all respect.
Yeah, she's just there for moral support. I do have my coaches there. She ain't coaching, but
okay,
that was the only way to have her here with me. So she in the corner.
That's cool. That makes sense. So yeah, she's not going to try to talk over your guys then. Hopefully, right?
Absolutely not.
Good. That's cool, man. Well, it seems like you got a good attitude here in the weight cut. It sounds like it's going well. You're having the UFC PI and dietitian working with you, and that's awesome. And it's going to be good, man. Well, I'll tell you what, I don't want to keep you too much longer, but maybe about 5-6 minutes if that's okay. And tell us a little bit about your background, man. How did you get to be someone that's going to be fighting in the UFC? Did you have hopes and dreams and thoughts about combat sports? And if so, what was your progression as far as which martial arts or wrestling or whatever that you got into?
I actually started playing high school football. Before high school football, I was a nerd. I was just in orchestra playing the bass, very introverted. Not really out there, doing any athletic activity, really playing outside, but not really much. But after playing high school football, I went on to play college football on a scholarship. And then I just played for a year. Well, I redshirted for a year and then came back to Texas from Arkansas. So once I got back, I had met a guy who was wearing a T-shirt for the gym I train at, SFS MMA. So I just asked him what was it, and he kind of gave me a brief description of how to go and train and whatever. And then I went and trained, and it was just amazing. I couldn't leave after that. This was 2014. So I took my first amateur fight 2016, which was 2 years later, and I did really well. So after that, it was all she wrote. This was for me, and I noticed I was doing good. I was doing jiu-jitsu tournaments, winning often, and just having fun, like having all the eyes on me and like meeting people who, remember my name. That was awesome. So, so I went 7-0. I was just winning all of my fights as an amateur and just decided to get paid for it. Cutting weight was no fun just to do for free. So, yeah, I just decided to try and get some money for it.
Makes sense, and 7-1 is off to a good start. Do you feel like middleweight's going to be your home for a little while, or are you eyeing light heavyweight?
No, yeah, middleweight's going to be where I'm at for a while. There are small talks of, maybe taking a welterweight fight in the future if it's a good enough time limit in between. But
right.
Yeah, middleweight, I'm very comfortable. The weight cut's not too bad. Definitely want to go for a title somewhere where it seems very realistic. So go for that title at middleweight. And then, if we're still, super healthy and hungry, then we'll definitely go up to light heavyweight.
Gotcha. And you're only, what, 26, 27?
26.
That's great, man. That's a great age to be, especially at the weight division, middleweight, or even if you're a welterweight. It's still a lot of people are good until late 30s, as you know there, man. So you're in a great position. Were there some people that you feel that your style might be a little bit similar to? Like if we're going to look out for you and tell some of our fans, like what we might expect. Anybody that you think your style might be a little bit similar to, or that you were a fan of?
I would definitely compare my style to maybe like a Max Holloway with the volume and the way I throw my punches. Um, Maybe Gustafsson, the way he throws his knees, or he used to throw his knees when he was really active. Those are some of the main fighters I liked watching growing up. Mighty Mouse, I love to shoot him for shots and fit him into my combinations.
Nice. Any ambition to do anything? Let's say that things do work out, man, and you become really successful and high profile and a champion, and you got some money and some fame and a name and an even bigger platform. Any thoughts in mind, man? You want to have your own jiu-jitsu or MMA school, or do you want to be involved in any sort of projects for kids or any businesses, anything maybe that could be on the agenda if things work out for you?
Yeah, man. In my area, like I've been working with kids for a while. I even owned my own gym for a little bit. For about a year, I had my own gym open, and it was hard to maintain. And I wasn't a brown belt at the time. I was an early purple belt, so it was a learning experience. But I definitely look forward to opening a gym again in the future. I want to commentate. I want to get into the media with the UFC. So I'm hoping having a successful career will make that easier for me to, meet the right people to do, commentary stuff and stuff like that. Hello.
Absolutely. Well, it makes sense. Well, it seems like you do have a good, easy style, and you're easy to interview, and already, it looks like you have that comfort level on camera, and that's going to be a big part of it, as you know. So, keep that focus, man. So, are you
No,
guy?
we're staying out. Thank you.
Are you a guy that make any predictions on how this fight will end? You do any?
Yeah, I see a first round finish by me. I see me finishing him in the first round for sure. I mean, we're both coming in to fight. I don't see us going to the judges. I don't plan to, so I'm not like out here point fighting. And this is his last shot, so I'm sure he's not going to point fight either. So yeah, I definitely think I'll take him out in the first, whether it be a submission or a KO. But I know for a fact it's going to be an awesome fight that people are going to love to watch.
Absolutely. Look forward to it. Can I get your opinion real quick on a couple big fights coming up?
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Ngannou and Cyril Gane, man. I'd love to hear your thoughts because as an MMA fighter, that's fighting for the UFC. You're up there a weight. I mean, you probably even have more of an insight on what we're looking at between those two big men who have trained together before.
I mean, I definitely see Ngannou winning. They trained together already, and even in the matches they were sparring together, you could tell Ngannou had more thunk to his attacks, and Cyril was kind of dancing around and stuff, which is cool. And you do have to have good footwork, but Ngannou's going to catch him. He's going to put him against the cage, and he's going to put him out for sure.
Gotcha. Okay. And then on that undercard, you got the flyweights, Brandon Moreno against Figueiredo rematch. What do you think? You think Moreno keeps it?
My boy Moreno.
Yeah.
He's with Iridium Sports Management. He ain't losing.
Nice.
That's our belt.
Yeah, he's amazing. I actually went to his fight when they actually knocked him out of the UFC for a fight. I went to that fight and I saw how good he looked, and I said, man, they're going to bring this guy back, and he's going to do good, and he did. He's
going to win that. No problem.
He's going to keep it up. All right. And then any other big fights coming up that you're excited to watch in the UFC?
I'm kind of excited about the Poirier-Nate Diaz fight I just heard about. Scott said that's exciting. Jorge Masvidal and Kobe, that's going to be exciting as well in March.
Definitely. And do you think, how about if they finally get Gaethje set with Oliveira, who wins that one, you think?
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, any pick in that one?
I've been watching Gaethje since WSOF.
Yep.
So I got Gaethje.
Me too. And then last one. How about Islam Makhachev against Beneil Dariush? I think that's going to be an interesting fight.
I think Islam got him. He's training with the GOAT.
Yeah. Yep. With Habib. Yep. Amazing fighters. Well, I appreciate the picks. Well, I tell you, man, I really appreciate you jumping on here only 4 days out from your fight. Joseph Holmes, we're going to be cheering for you, man. I think you got an exciting style. You got a great attitude. You got a great team. And
thank you so much, man. Sorry about my tardiness. I've just been running around, but appreciate your time.
Not a problem at all. You're good, man. With you only being like 7 minutes off, you're nowhere near the worst of tardiness, man. So it's all good. I appreciate you. Great talking to you, James, and we're going to be cheering for you Saturday to keep up the great work. All success to you, my friend.
My pleasure, brother. Talk soon.
Thanks, brother. Take care.
Bye.
And that was Joseph Holmes. They call him Ugly Man. Really cool guy, training with a great team over there in Glory MMA with James Krause and the guys, as well as his team back in Texas. And really exciting. Like him. Got a really cool, great personality, doesn't he?
Great personality, and I love his integrity there with that apology towards the end.
Yeah.
So that's huge. But it shows a lot.
Very cool.
And we've learned the mentalities of different fighters over the last 5 years, like so much.
Yes.
We already knew them,
Yep.
right? Because
Yep.
we both train and compete in our own areas.
Yep.
And it's different, though, being firsthand as an interviewer and really just watching how people carry themselves in general.
Yes.
And when we talk about fighters, you can tell which ones are a true warrior and on a true warrior's path,
Right.
and nothing will stop them.
Right.
And they always have the utmost integrity.
Yes, it's true. And he did, because you're right. Some fighters don't really care. It's all a joke almost.
There's some guys that are just naturally gifted, like John Jones. It's a different story, but I think he still has this inner battle, quite honestly, if he were to do his own autobiography.
Yeah,
that could be really interesting. I think that would be brilliant. You need to do that, John Jones. If you need to talk about somebody helping out with that, hit up Lift Token. It's just adam@lifttoken.io. I'm willing to help you out and find a way to get that done.
Yeah, but
I think that would be crazy to see the inner monologue
of
for
John
him,
Jones, without a doubt.
because he is a warrior in his own way, but it goes against what we were just talking
Yes,
about.
exactly.
So I'm wondering if he's just got this inner battle that's really intense, and it could be something that goes really deep, that is like art of war type stuff internally, and that can, I don't know, that's interesting. I would love to chat with them about it, but also see something in writing for that.
Right. Yeah, I would think there's definitely an art of war going on in John Jones's head. That's
what I'm saying.
Sure.
That's what I'm saying, and I think it could be quite intense and quite philosophical.
Yes, it is. It could be. It really could. An interesting guy. But no, it seems like a man that's not having inner turmoil is our man, Joseph Holmes. And
so
really
I have to ask you about this fight coming up this weekend.
Yes.
Royval versus what is it, Bontorin?
Bontorin, yeah.
Yep. Who do you have?
I like Brandon. I mean, Brandon's a really cool dude. We had him on our show one time.
Isn't he the dog?
No, he isn't. Slight favorite.
Okay.
He's a slight favorite, and I think he will beat Bontorin. He's such a tall, lanky guy, so unorthodox, talented guy. He's had a couple tough fights, but he's had also a couple fights that he looked great. And excuse me, I just think he's better than Bontorin. Bontorin's going to be fighting hard. I mean, the division.
Could you hand me that other bottle?
The other one, you want that one? Sure.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, the flyweight division is not super deep right now, and so a win at any point, if you're in the top 10 or top 20, means a big jump closer to a title fight. And so, this is big. The winner of this fight technically could maybe be next after the rematch on the 22nd. Between Moreno and Figueiredo.
No,
So
I would
really
think so. I think Royval is going to walk away with this one. It's just hard to see him take another one of these.
Yeah, I don't think.
I just don't think he's going to go down that easy.
No, I don't think so either. I think he's going to be super motivated here, and
he only has one loss in the UFC, right?
I think didn't he get a second? I think he's like 4-2 in the UFC.
Did he take 2 in a row?
I think he may have. I think he did have 2 really tough matchups.
Let me see. Because
check and see, because I know he did have the L against Brandon Moreno, the champ.
Yeah, I know that.
And then I think there was one more. I think he did. I'm almost pretty sure, and I forget the guy's name. The bantamweight division. There's not a ton of people in it, so I'm not always remembering all the names. But I forget the guy's name. I think it was a Brazilian. But excuse me.
Well, the raw dog. What are you doing falling asleep on there, man?
I'm dying here. but hopefully not with.
He did
with
take 2 in a row. So,
Yep.
oh yeah, it was against Pentoja.
Pantoja.
Yep.
Yeah, Alejandro Pantoja. And so this is an important win for Royval, but also it's important for Monterrey. They're going to be in there banging. The flyweights are so exciting and so dynamic and so fast. But I think Royval has this fight, and I hope to see Royval win and with an exclamation point by a stoppage. There's not as many stoppages in the flyweight division as you'll see in like the welterweight, middleweight, light heavyweight, heavyweight division for sure. But they can do it, and Royval's been known to be a guy that can finish a flyweight fight. So yeah, I'm liking that. Do you want to maybe take a look at best fight odds? And because we're at 7:30 for this guest, so we're 6 or 7 minutes away. Or do you want to just shoot the breeze a little bit?
Yeah, just shoot the breeze a little.
All
bit.
right.
Let's have some fun here.
Yes. Well, let's see what would be fun, Doctor.
Well, we haven't brought this up since our last guest, Lift Token. Head on over to lifttoken.io. Check it out. It's all about sustainability and ethics. It is a cryptocurrency, obviously. A lot of cool things being built over there. A lot
That's
of
it.
NFT technologies that are going to be patented here in the next little while and released. First version of a physical NFT attached to the metaverse items. It's going to be released at the Lee Steinberg Super Bowl party. If you're going to be there, if you've got an invitation, head on over to the Lift Token booth. Check
Absolutely.
it out. I'll be there. Go ahead and talk
Absolutely.
to me.
Let's ask our producer Harrison. What do you know about living in the metaverse? Anything? Nothing at all. Are you living in the metaverse in this moment or not really?
Well, no, he's
No.
not at all.
He's not in the metaverse. Explain why that is.
If he were in the metaverse right now, he would have some sort of wearable on.
Wearable?
Yeah. So it's a virtual reality
Ah.
universe is what it is. It's a 3D universe, and you'll be able to do it without wearables. But I mean, he's not over there. I saw it on the computer screen. He's not actually sitting here wandering around in his little Fortnite world.
No.
but-
So sometimes I feel like my life is in a metaverse, like I'm in the virtual whatever the hell it is. You know, it's like I guess that could be I guess it's either that or I have a great disassociative disease, which I hope I don't have. But if you feel like
No,
you're-
this is just a crazy world, man. I mean,
That's
come
what
on.
it is, right?
Everybody's wondering what's reality. Ever since the first Matrix came out, it's like all
Right.
of a sudden everything started glitching.
right,
And now we had Trump as president, and now we have Biden as president. and
Right.
I don't know which one's
Man,
weirder.
hard to say.
It's just all really weird. Like,
it is.
is this reality?
It is like we're wondering if we're in a matrix, you know, and then you got what?
I'm not even gonna say any of the any presidents prior to that were any better. I mean,
No,
it's just
no.
like been insanity ever since.
Yeah, and then what do you,
whatever.
And then in the Matrix, you got what's his name? Keanu Reeves is starting to look like a monkey. I shouldn't have said that, but he is. He's starting to look really
Oh, his
weird.
facial hair the way it is. No,
I don't know what
he's
he's
always
doing.
had that. No, it's the facial hair.
I
but
guess that's it. He looks like a horse. You
I
know,
wouldn't say that. He's a good-looking dude. I'd
that's
say
true.
he hasn't really changed at all.
He hasn't.
He's put on a little bit of weight, but
I
that's
don't know.
it.
He looks like his dad. I don't
He's
know.
always been a good-looking dude. He
Yeah,
makes
that's
a lot
true.
more money than either one of us,
Well,
so he
that's
looks a
true.
lot better naturally. I think.
That's true. That could be it. Yeah, he's got the money, the good life there.
They
But
put a bunch of dollar signs right next to somebody, and it
that's
changes
it.
the way
God
they look
bless
right
him.
away.
God bless him, man. I don't
That's what I heard. I was told, if you don't have the good looks, go ahead and go straight for that money.
That's what, sometimes like Tom Cruise said in his original big hit in 1983, Risky Business. Sometimes you just got to say, what the fuck? And that's pretty much
What the fuck?
you know what I mean, right? So that's pretty much what that is. Well, man, oh man, Dr. Adam Roorda, can Hawaii get sticky?
You had to again.
Had to
Every
throw-
episode, guys.
one time at least. Yes.
Ladies, gents, boys, and girls.
Yes.
This man right here,
Yes.
Colin Crandall, has to throw that out at least once a show.
Once
it
a
irritates
show. And
the hell out of me.
it's an homage to Elvis
And I will
Presley.
never, ever stand down from that statement. So every
No.
time he says that, I'm going to let you all know.
You got it's
Leave in the comments if you want him to keep irritating me. And if
yes. Let me know if you want me to keep doing that, but I don't do it specifically for that reason. It's just
no, it's a Colin thing. It's a Colin
It
thing.
is,
But you
it
do
is.
it at least once a show, so it
I
does
think
irritate
it-
me. It's like
it's a-
nothing new.
It's a silly thing I've been saying ever since I saw an Elvis documentary like 25 years ago, and I don't know why. I for the first 4 years,
We're gonna work this out. I'm gonna bring in every week a new animation, or like from my side, you need to have missiles going and landing on his side. We'll make something like that happen where he's exploding every
That
time
would
he
be
does
cool.
it. Okay.
Except we thought when we
We're gonna have a little army like with tanks coming out
well, I
from
thought
this
when we
side
were
over
supposed
here.
to be Space Ghost, it was supposed to be Space Ghost, and then you would
Well, yeah,
be
we're doing different versions of that.
that's true because if it's Space
I have
Ghost
my ray gun.
and your Zorak, I would have the ray gun that would
I'll just have
will
my
fry
ray
you.
gun. No, well, we can do it back and forth.
There
I
we
guess.
go. That would be it. We keep blowing each other up. That would be it. Well, I know our next guest should be jumping on in a minute.
Well,
minutes.
what we need is our producers to actually go ahead and make up some awesome technology. I'm sure they have all the knowledge and know how to do this. That Snapchat style live filter, they should build it.
Yes, build it, and that was Field of Dreams. Build it.
If
and
they don't
will
know,
come.
they need to go take coding classes right now,
Oh.
and they need to start building this
Oh
for
man,
us.
they know Harrison can take a nothing and build a whole army with it. He can. He
That's
can
what
take.
I heard.
He
I
can,
heard he's the best developer on the planet.
He can take a. He can take a one word in code and build a whole program. Right, Harrison? I love it.
He
That's
says an
it.
alternate universe, so we're gonna go ahead and tap into that.
In the metaverse.
I'm taking the red pill. That's where
it.
we're going.
Yes, and we're gonna bring Harrison. We're gonna bring you over to the dark side. We're gonna. We're gonna.
Okay, it's the dark side now when I take the red pill.
There,
Okay.
that's it. We're gonna bring you right over to the metaverse, and in the metaverse, you'll be wearing a tuxedo and have a short haircut.
So, have you seen some of these technologies coming out in the metaverse at all? Like the video, like motion capture technologies?
I may have seen it, but if I did, I didn't know what I was looking at.
All right, we've got our guest Colin. He's right here.
Is he ready?
Yep.
Okay, let's see if we can bring in our guest there. And there's oh, there we go. Excellent. Steven, can you hear me? Can you hear me, Steven? He's looking up. Steven. Let's see. We're going to see if Harrison can get the audio going. And Harrison's standing up. And Steven, can you hear me? All right. Harrison's working his magic. He stood up and he sat back down.
We can't hear him.
All right, Steven, I think you can hear us, but we can't hear you, but we're going to rectify that. We got a good sound engineer here, and Harrison knows how to make stuff happen. He's standing back up now, and then he's going to sit back down, and that usually fixes the sound.
It's just the standing and sitting.
That's right. Now, let me see. Harrison's looking very pensive now.
Yeah, we're looking here, and we see an amazing little studio.
Yeah, we see that. It looks really cool in there, Steven. All right. But now Harrison's just trying to fix the audio. Steven, can you hear me? Can you hear me, brother? All right, Harrison's going to do it. I can tell this time. Now he's serious.
Yeah.
That's usually a good sign when it goes off the screen and then we see our logo.
That's a good sign. They don't see that, Colin.
No, they're not seeing anything.
No, they're just seeing you and me sit here like, what?
Oh, that's right. You guys can't see it there. Okay, wait. Now Harrison's he means business now, I think. Let me see. He's going to press a button and all of a sudden we'll hear Steven. All right, Steven, can you hear me?
Nod yes if you can hear us.
Steven, nod if you can hear me.
He's trying to figure it out too.
All right.
Can you hear us yet? Nope.
Anything, Steven? Can you hear us yet? Can you hear us on your end, Steven?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah,
Can you hear me now?
That was the old Verizon
Yep.
commercial from the 90s.
Of which I finally switched over to Verizon, and I'm not happy.
No? Well, it's usually pretty good. You don't have too many interruptions. Steven Peterson, can you hear me?
Why don't you go ahead and contact him on your phone?
Okay.
Let him know
All right.
we are talking.
All right, let me do that. All right. And we're going to get back onto the dictation here because it's much quicker and easier. All right.
You guys can't see it out there, but
hey, Steven, we see
he is
you,
here.
but we're having a hard time getting the audio connected.
Tell him to hang up and call back.
All right. Can you disconnect from the Zoom and come back on? Question mark. Let's see.
That's the best way to handle it. We're trying here for you.
Okay.
There he is. He hopped out, so he got
Okay.
that message.
Good. All right. Now we're gonna rock and roll this. I can feel it. There's us. There's Dr. Adam Roorda.
Yeah, why don't you go ahead and keep that over there until you get this figured out. Keep it. Now he's back in.
All right. You mean me keep the phone over?
No, not you.
No, Harrison.
Harris.
All right. We're gonna make this happen, Harrison. Right?
We're trying.
Yeah.
We're trying. Hopefully he can hear us right now. I
Let's
can't
see.
really tell.
Can't tell. Let's see. Steven Peterson. Steven Ocho Peterson.
There we go.
All right. Let's see.
Bop, 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 boom, boom.
Things are
There we
popping.
go.
Steven, can you hear anything? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear
Awesome.
me?
I got you. Excellent. I really appreciate your patience, brother. We had to make sure we get all the audio going. We're live here. Let me give you a proper introduction. Ladies and gentlemen, so excited to have this next guest back on the show, man. An amazing UFC fighter in the super competitive featherweight division, fighting out of Fortis MMA, the man they call Ocho, Stephen Peterson. Welcome back to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me on.
My pleasure, man. I love your little studio there, man. Are you doing that because you got a podcast of your own going, or are you just doing a lot of interviews that you want to have a good place, or because that looks as professional as I've seen?
Man, I've been doing a lot with Ocho TV. So podcast is something that I look to do sometime in the future. Kind of plug some sponsors, but right now doing a lot of video editing and yeah, just really trying to blow the place up and look professional while I'm doing it.
Absolutely, man. Now, is that a place where you have that anyone can walk in there if you got girlfriends or kids or wives, or is that the man cave, or are you just a single man and that's just a room in your place?
I'm a single man, but this is kind of where I get my mind right. I do my business, plug in my sponsors. Yeah, I have a board up here where I just write down my ideas, whatever I gotta, you know, I mean, even fight-based stuff, studying my opponent, things I want to focus on. This is kind of my focus room.
Cool, man. It looks like a really chill place to hang out at, and
Thanks, man.
yeah, it
Thanks.
looks pro. So you got a fight coming up in just under a month against was it Juicy J, Julian Erosa. You're in the featherweight division. I say, and I never change my mind. For the last probably 2 years, I say the UFC featherweight division is the most stacked division out there. And you're right. I don't think people would argue with that. I'm sure you wouldn't argue with that. And you're part of it, coming off of 2 good wins in a row. And your opponent, Julian Erosa, I think he may have had 1 loss, but then he had like 3 or 4 wins in a row. And this is a good matchup that is really significant. And I think the winner of this fight probably jumping like 8-10 spots up from where you guys are now. And I think it's going to be really an amazing fight, man. What's your thought going into this fight, and what do you feel that Julian Erosa presents as an opponent?
Yeah, man. We're both really experienced and seasoned featherweights. Like you said, it's one of the top divisions. It's the deepest division in my opinion.
Yes, I agree.
I mean, I think I'm ranked like number 70, and that's crazy.
I know it's nuts. It's nuts. Like 50.
But
I
you
saw
look
50
at the guys above me. I mean, I could very well jump them,
Yes,
or a lot of
absolutely.
guys with very little experience. So it's hard to say where they really fit in once
Right.
they get more experience. But guys like me and Julian, we've been around for a long time. We fought a very high level of competition, and we've shown that we can be consistent. But it's a tough division, so we just have to really. I mean, I know, speaking personally, I need to put my head down and really string together some wins so I can show where I belong, because I know I can hang with anybody in the world. I haven't been finished in 30 fights almost. It's like I can beat anybody in the world on any given night. I just need to show up on game day and get the job done. I have fallen short like just barely a couple times, and it's like you want to beat yourself up about those things, but you look back on it, and those are good lessons to learn.
Mm-hmm.
And I've learned a lot throughout my career, and now I'm at the point in my career where I feel like I can really string together some wins and go towards the top.
Absolutely, absolutely. And like you said, they've got so many crazy guys in the ratings. I mean, I literally honestly feel like if you win this fight here, you literally could be like ranked number 19 or 20 or something. I mean, I just feel that it just seems to be so random who they have above the top 10 or 12, that that a fight like that, because you have guys like that who might be ranked 16th or 18th, and the highest ranked guy they've beaten is 35th, and so I think that the winner of this fight will definitely make a good move up there, and
Especially if they're with a finish. I
Yeah.
go out there and finish him. Yeah, I have finishes throughout my career. I think that would really put me on the map, especially after that last knockout I got, and then beating that kid Chase Hooper.
Yep. Yep.
I made it look easy. And the kid was like 11-0, so that's not easy to do. And he was definitely ranked above me before that. So
Yep.
I feel like it's time for me to start jumping up in the rankings.
Without a doubt, without a doubt, and you got great people over there. I know your teammates have been doing pretty good lately. I know that there's a bunch of guys that are 55 and 70 over there at Fortis, and then 205 and like that. But remind me, do you have anybody else there at 45 or 35 or?
Yeah, definitely. We got Damon Jackson, Miles Johns at
That's right,
35.
Miles. We talked to Miles a few times. I forgot about him.
Yeah, we got Stephen Wynn, Fernie Garcia, Austin Lingo,
Nice.
man, and then we got a stable of other guys just coming up. Just Abdul, I forget his last name, but
Right.
Abdul Swati,
Okay.
the Pride of Palestine. Like these guys are really making a splash, and it's only a matter of time before these other guys get in the UFC. And like Stephen Wynn and Abdul, I think those are the next two guys up. Elijah Johns, Miles' younger brother.
Nice.
These guys are right on the cusp. I mean, they train with us. They're high level. They just got to string together a couple more wins, maybe one more win. And
Right.
speaking of, EJ is fighting this Friday on the LFA on UFC Fight Pass. So check
Nice.
that out. The co-main event.
That's Elijah Johns, Miles' brother. What weight class does he fight at?
He's 145.
Nice. And then Miles fights at what, 35?
135, correct.
Right. So I would imagine you probably get some good training with Miles, or is it not common that you guys train?
Yeah, no doubt, man. And we're both fighting on the same night on February 5th. So,
Right. That's right.
Yeah, we're both just hitting the gas right now, kind of beating the hell out of each other a little bit. Some days with a hammer, some with a nail.
Yep.
And he's a little, ball of muscle. It's really hard to open him up. So yeah, he's a problem, man.
Absolutely. And iron sharpens iron. That's got to be a good feeling that you're fighting on that exact same card, huh?
Yeah, we've done it before for LFA. I mean, there's been times where we had 8 guys fight on the same card, and we kind of build off of each other when we do that, especially in training. We all know what each other's going through because we're all going through it at the same time, and we pick each other up, we push each other to our limits on a daily basis. And then, fight night, it's just, palpable energy. As soon as somebody wins, they come back in the room. It's like, you keep it rolling. And me and Miles fighting on the same card, we're both very confident in our skills and what we can do. And I think that we'll definitely build off of each other.
Absolutely. And the rest of your team's had some good wins. I know we've talked to Alex Morono several times. He keeps on looking good. And then Jeff Neal came up with that very good win that was really important for him. And so they're doing some good stuff there, and Fortis is looking good. What do you think? What do you think here with Erosa, man? Do you like to keep it kind of secret and close to the vest as far as your complete thoughts about what a guy's going to bring, or can you share a little bit about what you think he might try to bring and what your solutions might be?
I mean, without telling too much, I want to
Right.
give you,
Right.
How I want the fight to play out.
Okay.
Obviously, he wants to go out there and beat me up. The guy called me out. He wanted this fight.
Interesting.
So he sees me as somebody he could beat.
Right.
But, he called out the wrong dude.
Yep.
He's stepping in there with somebody that, I thrive in that environment. That's what I'm used to. I'm used to people underestimating me. I'm used to people coming and think they're going to punk me. Come try to punk me and see what happens.
Yep.
That'll be my kind of fight. And, he's in for a fucking war.
Yeah. And you're both pretty tall for the weight class, but he's almost like a string bean for the weight class, and which doesn't always work out. But it's kind of weird how he kind of was almost like a forgotten about fighter for a couple of years. I don't know whether he didn't fight or whether he was injured, and then he had only had like two wins out of the last 4 or 3, and then all of a sudden he kind of made a resurgence. But he did get off track a little bit recently, but then came back on track. What do you think? is unusual. I guess the height, is unusual about him. But what are some interesting tendencies that you see, again, as much as you want to share without giving away your thoughts? But what do you think he brings that causes him to be successful? And then the second part of this question would be: are you looking more at his wins or losses, or both equally?
Yeah, I mean, he's long. He's for the weight class. He's dynamic, tall. I think that's what he brings to the table that I need to definitely address. And he's got a good Bravo choke. He's got a few finishes with the Bravo choke. It's obviously something that I've done my homework on. I'm very comfortable on the ground. There's nobody I've been on the ground with that I felt like I didn't belong there.
Right.
But it's something to be aware of. And I'm equally looking at his wins and losses. I mean, he's got some really good wins and he's got some really bad losses.
Right.
So you have to take those into account. You have to, obviously, I want to go out there and give him a bad loss. I don't want to, give him a highlight reel. Obviously, that's not what I'm envisioning. That's not what I'm focused on. I'm focused on going out there and taking him out.
Yeah, absolutely. And body wise and body type, he's actually almost exactly identical to your last opponent, Hooper, isn't he?
Yeah, I'd say body type, yeah, but fighting style, not so much.
Right.
I think Orosa is more of a striker who's opportunistic on the ground, whereas my last opponent was more of a grappler who survives on the feet.
Right, that makes sense. So there could be a little bit more banging here with a guy like Erosa.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I'd say definitely. You can definitely anticipate a barn burner. You can anticipate fucking punches landing, and you know we're both gonna bleed in this fight. If it goes longer than 30 seconds, we're both gonna bleed.
Yeah,
So you can
absolutely.
anticipate blood. You can anticipate, fucking banger.
Nice. Do you usually like to form an opinion one way or the other on your opponents every time? Like, and actually, this is a question I'm glad I thought of, because I would imagine most fighters don't necessarily find a reason to hate their opponents, except maybe the Diaz brothers in the early days. But maybe some of them do. What's your mindset on that? Do you, once you find out your opponent, do you say to yourself, "Let's see how this guy acts. If he acts crazy or gets out of line, we'll do this," or let's just start out imagining that this guy's chill and everything's good, or you start out more like, "This is my opponent. He's not my friend. He's trying to get into my way and take something out of my mouth." What's your thought in general, and then what's your thought when it comes to each different opponent? How you feel about them?
Yeah, when I get a fight, it's all based off the opponent, how they act. You know, this fight particularly, I don't care for the guy.
Right.
Julian Erosa was in my inboxes talking shit. Um, he called me out.
Right.
I have what he wants. Obviously, otherwise he wouldn't want to fight me.
Right.
So I want more.
Right.
I want to go for the top. He's not somebody I would have necessarily called out. I mean, look at him. Look at his record. It's
Right.
like the fight didn't make sense for me when he was in my DMs. I was like, "Fuck this guy!" Like, he was in my message requests, and then he started commenting on my posts saying that I was ducking him. I was like, "Who the fuck is this guy?"
Yeah. Right. Right.
Honestly, I didn't even know who he was.
Yeah.
I did watch The Ultimate Fighter with him on it, and then
Right.
I went back and rewatched. And
Right.
speaking of, he got fucking. If somebody was spraying a beer in my face, I don't care who the fuck you are, if we're on The Ultimate Fighter or what, I'm
Yeah.
popping off. So
Yeah. Yeah.
he showed like he's a straight bitch in the streets. So you
Yeah.
want to come punk me, say I'm ducking you.
Right.
And then he won that fight. He fought, I think it was against Jourdain.
Mm-hmm.
He took it on short notice, and he won impressively. So give him props. But then he goes and calls me out in the interview, and I kind of expected it. I was like, this guy's in my DMs, and then he said it on the mic. He said, "That's all I can really think about is Steven Peterson." So obviously he feels like I was disrespecting him, and
Right.
he can't get me out of his mind. So February 5th we're gonna scrap, and he won't be able to get me out of his mind after I get done with him.
Absolutely, absolutely. I look forward to that. It's going to be a great fight, and that is going to be where is that going to be? What's the venue for that?
It's going to be at the UFC Apex. So it's a pretty private event. You can get the UFC VIP fan experience.
Right.
Those tickets are on UFC.com, and I believe they're $2,000 for the fan
Right.
experience.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's kind of tough. I've never fought without a crowd except for the Contender Series.
Right.
But this will be a little intermediate. Yeah, I don't like fighting without a crowd. I kind of enjoy the crowd. I enjoy that experience, but
Right.
It'll be interesting. I'm working around it. I got a lot of people that support me, and local people to Texas that'll still come out to Vegas. So we're gonna host a pretty cool watch party at this mansion in Vegas.
Nice.
So if you want to get the inside scoop on that, you can DM me and maybe get lucky and join some of my friends and family and sponsors at the watch party. And then that'll kind of turn into after thing.
Very cool.
After the fight.
Very cool. Not that we're wrapping it up or anything. We got about maybe 5 minutes more, but what's the best place to DM you and to support you on social media?
Yeah, you can DM me on Instagram at 8ocho08 at 8ocho08 or at Ocho_TV. And I request or fuck shit. Keep going.
No problem. You record. No problem. So let me ask you in the last 5 minutes. I want to get your opinion on some other actions. So we had a big fight fallout, as you know, about a week ago. Max Holloway was going to go up against Volkanovski for the third match, and then all of a sudden it's off, and then you hear all kinds of people jumping in saying, I'm available. Henry Cejudo, Josh Emmett's available. Korean Zombie's available. Giga Chikadze says he'll dump the fight with Cater for the big fight. I think there may be one or two other guys that I'm forgetting. But in your opinion, who should get that fight with Volkanovski, and who do you think will get that fight with Volkanovski?
Yeah, I think it should be Korean Zombie. He's been at the top for a long time. I think he stacks up well against Volkanovski. He's got those wins where you never know what to expect out of him. So and he's got some clean knockouts. I'd like to see him in there, or if Triple C wants to come back, I think that might be a good fight for him to come back on. They're both about the same height, so that speed will be negated a little bit. And I'd like to see how Volkanovski handles the wrestling.
It would be interesting. Now, I know we've interviewed Josh Emmett a lot. I personally think he's deserving as well. But right. But it's going to be interesting to see. You know what I mean? I think that it is interesting that Holloway. It's unfortunate that Holloway fell off that fight, but they're going to pick someone soon. I think because is that February 5th as well or no?
I believe that's the 12th. That's the weekend after, and that's in Houston. So I'm really looking forward to that card. I wish I could have been on that one, but
that's right.
Maybe you never know what's going to happen. So maybe I can get a quick turnaround and hop back in there. That'd be really cool.
That would be great because you live and train in Dallas, right?
I live and train in Dallas and got lots of friends in Houston. And
that's right. It's not far.
I can bring out a crowd, but yep. I'm sure they don't have a problem filling out the Houston stadiums.
That's true. And then you got, so let me see what else is coming up. Derek Lewis is going to go up against a fairly quick turnaround going up against Tuivasa. I don't know. I don't hold anything against Tuivasa, but I don't see what he has for Derek Lewis. What do you think?
I don't know. He's knocked out some dudes and Derek gets hit. So that's an intriguing matchup.
Should be some fun, huh?
Derek doesn't really get knocked out, but he kind of, turtled in that last fight against the cage against Nagano. But I mean, it's hard to say with these heavyweights. Nagano's like a freak of nature, and then Tuivasa just hits really fucking hard. So we'll see if he's able to put Lewis out or if he falls a victim to the beast. I mean,
right.
Once the beast gets hit, then he kind of turns it on and takes guys out.
That's true. He just needs to get mad. It's funny.
Get going, yeah.
Yeah, I think I saw Izzy, the champ, Adesanya mentioned that in some fight against some fighter. He said this guy just seems to need to get mad, and then he comes back. But what do you think about Ngannou and Cyril Gane? What happens in that fight?
That's a great matchup. I would go with Cyril Gahn, but then after Nagano's last fight, where he looked so crisp with his jabs, like he's never fought like that. So to see him fight like that was really impressive. And if he can fight like that against Cyril Gahn, then I think he can score a win.
It'd be big. Who's the main event this Saturday? Do you know? Adam?
I'm not sure. I only know that my buddy Ramiz Brahimish, he's fighting Court McGee on that card. So make sure you tune in early. That one's going to be a banger.
Yeah, that should be a good fight. And then quick question. I think that let me see. Moreno and Figueiredo, the third fight. Okay, looks at the main event.
Right.
Oh yeah,
That's
it's
the main event.
oh wow, it's your weight division. So before I ask you about that, Giga Chikadze against Cater this Saturday. What do you think?
Oh man, that's a good fight.
Yeah.
Chikadze, he's got that left kick, and he's been dropping people.
Yep.
Cater's got the hands. We'll see, if he's able to thread that kick without eating too much of the punches. Cater's got really good boxing, so yeah, it's an interesting matchup, and that's why they got it at the main event.
Absolutely, yeah. Cater's going to try to just put him in the washing machine and kind of bobblehead him to death,
Yeah,
with his
exactly.
hands, and then Giga's going to be trying
And
to be
then,
the sharpshooter.
yeah, he's going to try and rip that kick and fold him with it. So I think it'll be a fun fight.
Yep, me too. What do you think about another King's MMA guy, Benio Dariush against Islam? You think that's going to be a tough fight?
That'll be an interesting fight. Normally, when two elite grapplers go at it, then it turns out to be a striking match. So I think that would be a kind of striking match. I mean, I don't see either one of them. If it does go to the ground, it'll probably be more of a chess match and not so exciting. So I
Right.
think they're going to try and keep it striking and expose each other.
Yeah, I think Benil's got a chance. The odds makers seem to have it about 2.5, 3-1 Makachev, but I think Dariush has a chance there, don't you?
Well, Makachev's is probably going to try and take him down, I would imagine. And
Yeah.
I think Benil will be able to avoid that pretty well and keep it striking. I mean, he's a great wrestler as it is. So if he can keep it striking, I think he's going to kind of chip away at him.
Yeah, no, I think so. I think Benil's got that power. Last question. Charles Oliveira, he's looking so amazing. A, would he beat Justin Gaethje if that fight signed? And B, he's talking about he'd be willing to go to featherweight or even welterweight if the opportunity presents himself. How does Charles fare against those other weight classes and also against Justin Gaethje, in your opinion?
I think Gaethje has all the tools to get it done, but Oliveira is like, I mean, not Khabib level, but better striking, more well-rounded than Khabib for sure.
Right.
And I mean, he could definitely submit guys on the ground. His wrestling is not quite where Khabib's is, but his submission game, I'd say, is on par with Khabib. So I think that fight goes to the ground. Oliveira takes him out.
Right.
If it stays standing, shit, that's another banger, man.
Gaethje could be banging.
I want to see that. I want to see that. I think Gaethje deserves it. I think, obviously Oliveira wants to go for the money fight, but Gaethje, I mean, why hold up to the division waiting on Conor to get back?
I agree.
And why does Conor get that shot?
He
I
should.
don't think Conor deserves it. I think Conor should fight Diaz again.
Yep.
That's the fight that makes sense.
Yep.
And I mean, that's the fight the fans want to see. Nobody wants to see Conor fight for the belt.
No, I agree. Give me 30 seconds. We're going to have to jump off the air in about 2 minutes, but give me 15 seconds on what you think would happen if, or 10 seconds if Oliveira goes to welterweight or goes to featherweight.
I think he'll be too small. I think he'll have a hard time making 145. I think at feather or at 170, he'll be way too small for that.
Okay,
weight
so
class.
either way wouldn't work out for him.
Yeah, I don't think it would work out well for him.
Gotcha, makes sense. Well, I definitely think February 5th will work out well for you. You got Juicy J. Julian Rosa, who called you out. I think you're going to lay the smackdown on him. Yeah, can't wait to see you do it. People want to reach out to you. Again, tell us the social media place to support you.
Yeah, hit me up on Instagram at 8ocho08 and check out my YouTube channel, Ocho TV. It's Ocho TV 08, youtube.com/Ocho TV 08. And that's where I'm mainly plugging my sponsors, but shout out to my sponsors, Hutch's Barbecue, Texas Solar Brokers, Door to Door Shuttle, Dank Vodka, New Lifespan, Limitless Sport Picks, CWL.law, and Chandler Cabinets. I appreciate your support, guys.
Awesome, and I think your potential is limitless, like your sponsor is called. So, Stephen Ocho Peterson, really appreciate you, man. Can't wait to see you take home the W on February 5th.
Hey, thanks for having me on. It's my pleasure.
Very welcome. Have a good night. Thanks.
You too.
All right. Thanks. So that was Stephen Ocho Peterson, great member of Fortis MMA, fighting February 5th in the featherweight division. And we got me cascading here, and no sign of Dr. Adam Roorda on the screen, but that's all right. Dr. Adam Roorda.
We're fine. That's,
There we go.
Zoom doing that. That's not the actual.
not
Nobody
us.
else sees that. I saw it earlier. I'm like,
Oh, okay.
whoa, what? Am I on acid right now?
I know, right? It looks like it felt like I'm on a personal weird
Seriously,
trip.
I thought I was on a weird trip, but
Yeah.
no. Great episode here, Colin. Thank you so much for another amazing episode. For those of you who are tuning in for the first time, it is a 2-hour show every single week at the same time, same place. If you want to look for other places, it's the Hannibal TV, and then at MMA Power Hour. Search us on all social media platforms. You'll figure it out. You'll find us. We're going to be all over the place here soon. Thanks to Lift Token, lifttoken.io. Make sure to hit them up, the website, the social media, everything. I am the blockchain architect over there, so I'm actually in charge of building it, believe it or not. I'm actually wise enough to do that.
Yep.
But MMA is one of my loves. I am a casual compared to this man over here.
Thank you.
Colin really does a great job. So give him a shout out on his personal social media. It is Colin Crandall. That's Crandall.
Thank you, brother. You could say that I am the MMA chain architect.
He's the Crandall of it all.
That's it. I'm the Crandall of it all. Dr. Adam Roorda, thank you. I will say you're tapping out, right, since we're up
He's the
against
Crandall be-all.
That's it, the be-all Crandall. I love it.
Be-all Crandall.
I love it.
think we finally came up with his nickname.
That's what it is. I'll take it. Dr. Adam Roorda, thank you so much, man. Always great chatting with you, and love what you have to say always, man. Big respect. Appreciate you, brother. And for the entire team here, Harrison running the boards over at Third Wheel, and we just want to thank you so much for tuning in. Spread the love in a positive way. Be that guy, be that girl, and take good care of your pets, too. They deserve it. It's a cold winter. Have a warm place. Walk your dog. Have your cat litter clean. Make sure they have fresh water and food. Big love and respect to you for the entire team at the MMA Power Hour. This is Colin Crandall, and I am tapping out.